Everybody here knows him. He is the first Singapore pro wrestler. He is the Statement.
I'm sitting here with Andreuw Tang, also known as the Statement, the first ever professional wrestler in Singapore. Is that true?
Yeah, I am the first ever pro wrestler of Singapore.
It's actually not the first time that I've met you. I told you before we start that we've actually met earlier at the seminar.
Yeah.
Very impressed with the setup of this room. It's built like the old WWE Attitude Era kind of feel. The whole backdrop and the chains and the metal setup and all that.
Yeah, I gotta give props to my production guy, my video guy, who is actually known as Lukman Adam, or you can see him wrestling as well as a free spirit Lukman Adam. Yeah, he's the guy, he's the man behind the videos of SPW. So yeah, he and my co-founder, my partner, came up with some decorations of the room. Yeah, so you can see like the green screen and then like the backdrop for our shows. So each time whenever we have a new show, we just change the backdrop.
Is it public knowledge that people know where the location of SPW is?
Yeah, it is. It's on our posters.
So we
are
are located website. At 51 Tannery Lane.
Yeah.
What's the name of this building again?
It's Shelley Warehouse building, I guess.
Shelley Warehouse. Yeah, it's a bit rundown, but you mentioned there was a ring in the other room. Yeah, I'm very impressed with what you've done with the whole thing, building from scratch. You set up your own ring. You have your own promo room right now.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's start with a bit about yourself. Why do you decide to be a pro wrestler?
Well, this is a lifelong dream since young for me. So it's my childhood dream. When I remember when I first started watching pro wrestling, I was very captivated by the larger than life characters. Because I feel that pro wrestling is just like a classic example of a superhero versus a super villain. When you step foot inside the ring, you become somebody different. You become a larger than life character. You're telling a different story. And the fans are actually trying to look at you, look up to you, and trying to envision and try to feel the emotions that you're trying to generate to them, and the story that you're trying to give to them. So it's always a struggle between good versus evil, and then you try to see like how you can actually tweak and change to make the situation, to let them understand it better. Yeah.
So who was your favorite wrestler growing up?
Growing up, my favorite wrestler would actually be, I think, like most guys out there around my age, favorite wrestler would be hands down The Rock, because the guy is really charismatic. He's huge at the point. He's huge now. He's even bigger. But not only can he wrestle, but he can always trash talk over the mic. And this trash talking skills, it's definitely one of the most important factors that a pro wrestler should have.
Actually, The Rock is also my favorite wrestler. After him, I moved on to Rob Van Dam. Internet wasn't big back then, so whatever was on TV, and I didn't even have cable, so I watched wrestling through Livewire.
Yeah, same. I watched through Livewire and the Superstars.
Livewire. So it's basically we are watching even the highlights. We are not even watching the whole show from start to finish.
Yeah, I remember last time when I was young, we used to tape Livewire, and I watched the tape like a couple of times every week. Yeah,
and the messed up part is that it's like sometimes 12 in the midnight, it's like early in the morning, and we have school after that. How old are you this year?
Oh, I'm 27 this year.
You're my age exactly. So I figured that we were not in the time where Bret Hart, where he was big on television. I myself started embracing wrestling when he was The Rock in his hottest run. Yeah. You are the sole owner of SPW, basically.
No, I'm not the sole owner of SPW. It's co-founded. Yeah, so it's
me. But you did basically it's your brainchild, SPW.
Definitely my brainchild. Yeah,
you created SPW from scratch.
Like me and my partner. Yeah, we created SPW.
What pushed you forward to create SPW?
Well, at the point of time after I left the army, I told myself like I really want to do pro wrestling, and there's no place in Singapore where I can actually do pro wrestling. So I actually wanted to maybe just head over to Japan to train, go to US to train, go to Canada to train. But then so I was like, it's by chance I went online and searched, whether there's any pro wrestling schools in Singapore, and then apparently I found this ad, that says like pro wrestling and then this Russian guy who wants to set up a pro wrestling school in Singapore. So yeah, you know, he actually like this place like the meeting place and all. So I went to the meeting place. Remember when I entered the meeting place, there was like about 20 people or so. You know, we are all like, you know, very eager to actually want to try pro wrestling lah. And of course, you know, Vadim, he just showed us some videos from his promotion in Russia.
Okay.
Yeah, and then basically he just talked to us more about his promotion in Russia, and he wanted to see like the interest in Singapore.
Okay.
Yeah, so apparently like, you know, me and him talk, and then, you know, we decided to just like kickstart SPW lah.
He moved to Singapore and he started SPW as well.
Yeah.
Okay. How did the name, the statement came about?
Oh, because you know, like what they say, like, you know, the best wrestlers are always interpretation of themselves, but you know, you mark it up by 150% or 200%. So you know, growing up in poly, you know, I was in the school dragon boat team, you know, and at that point of time, you know, I was like the typical jock, you know, like I wasn't that big at that point of time, but you know, I had a decent body, and you know, like I was very confident, I was pretty charismatic, and you know, like doesn't matter what, I always wanted the attention to myself. So you know, for me, why I want to become the Statements, because you know, I came up with the name the Statements because whether it's inside the ring, outside the ring, or doesn't matter what I do, you know, whether it's cutting a promo, whether I'm wrestling inside the ring, or whether, you know, I'm hitting the gym, I always want to make a statement and leave I want to leave an impressionable statement on everybody's mind. Yeah.
So yeah, you look like you are built like a tank. I've watched your matches in wrestling, especially the match with Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
How did the whole process of getting Pete Dunne to Singapore came about? Actually, that's really huge.
Right, yeah, it's definitely a big milestone for SPW, and actually, in fact, the pro wrestling scene in Singapore and pro wrestling scene in Southeast Asia as well. You know, getting a big star, especially like the WWE UK champion, to, you know, to step foot inside the ring with us. 2 years ago, I guess, when I was wrestling in Hong Kong, at that point of time, Pete Dunne wasn't signed with WWE yet, so I think he was supposed to wrestle for some China promotion.
All right.
Yeah, which didn't really turn out that good lah, because there's a lot of story behind the China promotion. But yeah, it's okay, whatever it is. Yeah, so he was making a transit, so he was in Hong Kong with his UK friends. I think one of the other WWE UK competitor as well, Sam Gradwell.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was there as well. Yeah, so I was wrestling on the same card as him, so of course, like, I make friends with the UK wrestlers, and I talked to him, and I remember like I watched his match against the current AWGC Junior Heavyweight Champion right now. Big Tenzi. Yeah, so I was really impressed with his finishing move. You know, the Peter N, which is like, wow, it looks like a special version of the F5 maneuver, and I see this guy's like, wow, this guy is huge. Wow, okay, so you know, being the bruiserweight he is, you know, he's still very quiet, like till now. Even like last time, he was very quiet, so didn't really talk much to him. Just take a photo, you know. We of course like we are friends on Facebook and everything. So it was like a few months back, before Wrestling City Asia Reload, and I actually wanted to find a opponent for my show. Actually, I wanted to book Tadri, but because due to his booking schedule, I wasn't able to book Tadri.
The Japanese Baso?
The Japanese Baso, yeah. So,
okay.
You know, I just sent a message to Pete Dunne, you know, since he's on my friends list. Yeah, so apparently we negotiated and everything is good, and yeah, he's agreeable to come down to Singapore. And then we had the match.
He's considered cruiserweight, or?
Yeah, he's actually, he falls on, his weight class is actually a cruiserweight weight class.
Very cool finishing move. Did he do the Canadian Destroyer on you, or did you do the Canadian Destroyer
I believe I did the Canadian Destroyer on him.
That was I'm very impressed with anyone who can do the Canadian Destroyer, because you need good explosive power to actually catapult yourself over your opponent and all that. That's huge, especially when he just moved to the main roster and all that. I'm not sure whether he is in the main roster.
I'm not sure too,
but even in NXT, people know who he is, especially winning the UK title.
Yeah.
While holding a WWE title, he's still defending the belt elsewhere besides the WWE. Okay, let's talk about your style of wrestling.
Yeah.
From the first few videos that I saw you did moves like a very Rey Mysterio-esque moves. For someone of your size, you're pretty agile. You know, despite your size. What was the conscious decision to implement some of Rey Mysterio's moves?
I think for myself, my wrestling style is really unique because I don't really do too much of the high flying stuff, but I do some high flying stuff that, you know, I think that can definitely wow the crowd lah. Yeah, but I do a lot of power moves as well. even though for a guy that is my size. So you can see like for some of the matches that I had in Hong Kong, I even did like the double shell shock onto the tag team champions, the Mambros. I was lifting two guys up in the modified fireman's carry position, and of course dropping them on the back of and I'm able to carry.
For casual viewers, it looks something like the John Cena's move, the attitude adjustment.
I managed to carry this guy who's about 130 kilos as well. He's I'm not sure from the last show if you actually watch his Hoshi Tango, so it was quite a big moment for me, because when I lifted him up, everyone got shocked. So for me, I feel like it's just about mixing different styles that you see and trying to find your own. Because like some wrestlers out there right now, they like to try to emulate everything they see on TV. Like 1 minute they are one wrestler of the week. One week they think they are Shibata. 1 week they think they are Minoru Suzuki. 1 week they think they're The Rock. 1 week they think they're Naito. So every time they will just try to change the style and change the moveset according to the wrestlers. No, but actually you just gotta basically just beat out
find your own identity.
Find your own identity, and of course just try to find the right moveset that actually that will definitely make the crowd go wow lah.
So what's your finishing maneuver?
Oh, my finishing maneuver is the ending statement, which is like the version of the Shao Shock.
Okay.
I'll do it in my own flair.
Okay.
But I do have a very kick-ass signature maneuver, which is so nice. You're gonna see it live. Satellite DDT. I'm not sure if you saw it, like the one where I spin around my opponents and I drop them on the head.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw some local moves like the MBS and all that. There was a YouTube clip.
That was when we did a collaboration with Ministry of Funny.
That's very creative. I enjoyed the whole video. So you have this catchphrase that very popular, and here's Andreuw Tang and his catchphrase. Alright, so how did that came about?
I know it just happened by chance, by accident, like sometimes, during a match, last time, whenever I'll do this maneuver, when I'll just go for the neck vise, so the person will be sitting down and just be cranking on his head. Then basically it just came out of me, showing my aggression. Basically that's just like a war cry. So apparently, I've been doing that for a couple of years, and then apparently the last few matches that I did,
it got over.
It got really over, and I think the biggest reaction I ever got was in Hong Kong, because it was a 2-day show. It has been a while since I wrestled in Hong Kong, so the first day I actually established my catchphrase. Well, the second day when I came out, it was crazy. Everyone in the arena was actually mimicking my catchphrase, and everyone stand up to their feet when I was doing the catchphrase. I didn't even have to say the catchphrase. I just have to show my hand signal to the crowd, and do the cut off thing, and everyone was
automatically caught on. It's just like the yes chant. Nobody would ever predict something so simple would be they will get very, very over with the crowd. Let's talk a bit more about how you set up SPW.
Okay.
Alright, because what I'm interested to know is, so I work in a boxing gym. Okay. If you want to hold a boxing match, we have a governing
body, right? Sanction.
We have a governing body called Sabah.
If
you want to create a Muay Thai match or Muay Thai competition, there's AMAS. Seeing that SPW is something new, and that was there any governing body or any procedures that you have to go through in order to hold your matches?
No, but of course for each of every show, then we will definitely have we need to get the license from the police, because it's an official work thing.
The thing about wrestling in Singapore is it's never been done before. Right. So there's a lot of policies that you guys are free to pass, because nobody ever wanted to create a wrestling promotion in Singapore. Alright. How hard was it building SPW from scratch?
Well, it's really hard apparently when we first started off, of course there will be a lot of skeptics, saying this will never happen, how can we local Singaporeans can be able to do the things that the US wrestlers can do, or the wrestlers in WWE can do, or the Japanese wrestlers can do. And when we first did our training videos and everything, of course people had there were haters around saying this is bad, no, this is not standard. The thing is, we are actually chasing our dream. We are actually we are taking the first step. We're breaking the barrier from being a dreamer to becoming an achiever. So we actually stepping foot inside the ring to actually do the stuff that we love. Unlike them, we just stay behind the keyboards and just typing the commands,
And this was how long ago was SPW created?
5 years ago.
And 5 years later, you are wrestling a match with Pete Dunne. That's huge. The progress that you've made within 5 years is. Imagine what's gonna happen another 5 years from now. For wrestling, essentially we have the good guys and the bad guys. Basically, we call the good guys the baby face and the bad guys the heel. Do you prefer to be the heel or the baby face?
Definitely prefer to be the heel. The heel is, it's always good being bad. Yeah. For most of my matches, 5 years of my career, I've always been the bad guy most of the matches. But actually, if you take a look at in pro wrestling, like some of the like the famous wrestlers, they won't really actually very big baby faces.
Yeah.
So he's like, there's always a fine line. Take a look at The Rock. He's always like his promos are not really very baby face. He trash talks to his opponent.
Yeah.
Stone Cold.
Yeah, it's like
Stone Cold is actually not really
he's a tweener.
Face. Yeah, he's a tweener. Yeah, but the fans still love him because of his actions and stuff that he does. Take a look, even like out of wrestling, Conor McGregor. He's not really face, not really heel, right? But the fans still love him, right? So,
yeah.
So that's why something like me as well. My character, it's not really face, not really heel. Like if the fans love me, the fans love me. It's good for them. If they don't like me, I don't give a shit. I'll still do my thing. And still continue to entertain the fans and still give 5-star matches whenever I step foot inside the ring. Yeah.
For people like Chris Jericho or more of the old-timer wrestlers, I've heard them say that as a heel, they are not just heels in the ring. When they are heels, they try to carry it in their real life. For example, Chris Jericho doesn't sell any merchandise whenever he's a heel character because he doesn't want any of his fans, cheering for him, wearing his merchandise in the ring. Just shows the dedication of him as a wrestler. For you, how far do you go as a heel? Like, what's probably the most heelish thing that you've ever done?
Heelish thing definitely is all inside the ring, not outside of the ring.
Okay,
that's understandable. For us, it's in Singapore, it's basically, or even anywhere around the world, any place where I wrestle. Basically, after the match is over, like once the event is over, then back to Andreuw Tang. No, that's the statement. Yeah.
So, what about winning championships across Asia? Tell us, where have you been wrestling?
I wrestled in over 10 different countries already lah. So I'll name some of the countries that I wrestle in: Hong Kong, Australia, Russia, Thailand, China, Malaysia. Yeah, it's quite a number of countries lah.
Is there any other wrestlers that have wrestled as much as you?
Yes, of course. Like the Eurasian Dragon,
Kenneth.
Teixeira, he has wrestled in
he was actually my poly mate.
I see. Yeah.
So what about winning belts? What's the process like? Do you have to wrestle for a company for extended period of time before the company?
Well, it actually really depends on what the promoter thinks and feel. Because wrestling, at the end of the day, pro wrestling is a business as well. So of course, promoter will do what's best for business. If for example, if you win a belt, okay, even though I know some people may think that pro wrestling is scripted, blah blah blah, but the thing is, when you win the belt, it's still an achievement because when you carry the belt, it means that the promoter trusts you to become the face and the man of the company.
Yep.
Yeah, and of course, you're supposed to bring in the tickets and the numbers as well lah. So of course, it's a very big deal if you win the belt. Win a promotions belt, and thankfully, for me, my very first singles title was the main belt of Hong Kong Pro Wrestling Federation. Yeah.
How many belts does SPW currently have?
Currently, there's the SPW Southeast Asia Championship, Singapore Championship, and the SPW Southeast Asia Tag Team Championships.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've won the SPW Southeast Asia Championship 2 times. I won the Hong Kong Championship once, and I was the inaugural Tag Team Champion along with Traxxas for the SPW Tag Team Championships. Yeah.
You yourself being the guy who created SPW, do you have a committee that decides who do you put the title on for the Singapore wrestlers?
Definitely there's a booking committee behind whatever I do lah. Like for me, I will just handle mainly maybe the bottom of the mid card wrestlers and the bookings of the matches, but for main events also, mainly it's my partner Vadim. He will be the one deciding. Yeah, and of course we will think what is best for business lah. That's what we will do. Yeah, of course it's pro wrestling. We will definitely award those who really work hard and contribute well to the company and the promotion, and of course to bring the name up of Singapore Pro Wrestling in Singapore. Yeah.
Having wrestled many different places around the world, it's not the same wrestling from one crowd to another. Wrestling for the crowd in Singapore is not the same as wrestling a crowd in Russia or in Australia. What do you feel gets over with the fans in Singapore?
I think for Singapore, basically, it's mainly storytelling and of course big moves. So of course, it's more towards like doing high explosive sports, and of course, like entertaining the crowd lah. Yeah, but if you wrestle in a match in Thailand,
where they've seen
because they've seen
more wrestling than Singapore.
More wrestling, and in a way, like they see more Japanese wrestling. So of course, like the style that they want to see is more towards the Japanese style of wrestling. So it's slightly different, more strikes, more hard hits, and of course the explosiveness of Japanese pro wrestling.
You've seen that Singapore crowd prefers the flashier stuff.
Yeah, slightly more flashy stuff. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Which local wrestler do you currently have your sights set on? Any shout outs to uprising local wrestlers?
Well, I would definitely say that my tag team partner Traxxas lah. He has been around for quite a while, but then again, we were forced to vacate our tag team championships because he had to enter NS. So he actually had
the government strikes.
I feel like he's definitely the guy to watch out lah. Of course, he has so much potential, and he's the current SPW Southeast Asia champion.
Shout out to Traxxas.
Yeah, shout out to Traxxas, and definitely hope that he has more matches overseas, and I want the world to see his wrestling ability. And he's still so talented. He's only like 21 years old, and he's huge, and his wrestling is so good.
What was your most favorite wrestling match that you've seen on television?
Most favorite wrestling match? Actually, there's quite a number, but I mean, the one that actually really captivated me was The Rock versus Stone Cold at WrestleMania 17. It was my first WrestleMania as well.
Talk about what was it about that match that was so captivating for you?
I think it's just a story, really. It's just a story. Yeah, because at that point of time, it was like a face versus face match. Yeah, it was two of the biggest stars at that point of time, the WWE history. Yeah, and then it was The Rock was trying to defend his championship, and of course,
was this the one that
leading up to it was
this the one that Stone Cold aligned himself with Vince McMahon?
Yeah, that's the one. That was the swerve at the end. It was really surprising lah, because nobody could see it coming. Yeah.
Tell us your favorite match that you've participated in.
Favorite match that I participated in? Actually, quite a number.
Probably Pete Dunne.
I reckon for Pete international Dunne match, definitely I would say like the recent match with Pete Dunne was definitely a very memorable match for me. It's one of the career highlights, a career milestone for me lah. Yeah, for local match, I would say the one that I had with Traxxas in Anche in Changi. The one where I lost my championship to him. I think was a really good match. Yeah.
Okay.
So much emotions was inside that match. It was beat inside that match, and so much. It was a very big fan reaction from everyone. Yeah.
So what is your end game for SPW? Where do you want to propel SPW towards?
I would definitely hope that it can be a mainstream entertainment staple in Singapore. Yeah, where we can have like TV time slots and stuff. Basically becoming like our own local WWE, where we can have like weekly production and like a monthly pay-per-view. Why not? I mean, a man can dream, right?
Currently you're holding one pay-per-view every 2 months?
Yeah, about there. Yeah. Depending on the situation and stuff as well.
And where can people in Singapore find out how they can get to your matches?
For the latest information, you can always head on to our Facebook page, or you can always head on to our YouTube page, because that's where we always will promote and announce our shows.
Facebook.com/SPW.
Yeah, just search for SPW. Yeah, and you can our YouTube page, Singapore Pro Wrestling. You'll be able to find us. Yeah.
Finally, I would like to ask, who will be your dream opponent?
Dream opponent? I would definitely love to face either Chris Jericho or Rey Mysterio.
Chris Jericho and Rey Mysterio. Why these two?
Yeah, because growing up, they were one of my, one of the wrestlers that have actually that inspired me to become a pro wrestler as well. Besides The Rock.
Chris Jericho is what inspired me to start this podcast as well. Talk is Jericho, which is his podcast.
Right.
Thank you, Andreuw Tang. Thank you for being a guest in podcast number 3. Who knows? One day, because of you, they might be, the future WWE star, or a future champion, famous around the world.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So thank you very much, Andreuw Tang, for being a guest.
Thank you.